Now, we all know that with the last few, weeks actually, we've seen a big boost in the player base. And that's because of things like the Division 2 being on Game Pass, being on a very, very big discount, the new DLC, the new Year 7 content, and so much more. But nevertheless, the fact is still the same that the player base is getting bigger and bigger with new and returning players. And well, I have seen a lot of new comments like, how is your XP number so low or so small in the corner? How's your map so big in the other corner? How do we see your damage numbers in the middle of the screen? How is it you're moving and reacting so fast? And, well, so many other questions. Now, in today's video, I'm going to answer all of these questions. I will show you all the tips and tricks and everything in between when regarding your settings, because your settings help you way more than you know. Now, in this video, I will show you both console and PC settings, but I will go ahead and give you the, little caveat here. I am using controller all of the time. I am a horrible mouse and keyboard player, and I don't even have a legit PC. I do everything on a gaming laptop because I do not have the funds to get a crazy PC. So, all of the settings will be controller based, but I will show you what settings to change on PC and why, as well as console settings. All right. I hope that was a good explanation, good little summary, but here we go. What's going on, YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 video, so sit back, relax, grab that popcorn, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think in the comment section below, and finally, shout out where you're from. It's cool to see where everyone is from. But that's right, change these settings now. These are the best settings to have, and why, I mean, whatever keywords you need, but here we go. So settings, all about the settings. So as soon as you get into the game, you can go to your main menu and go down to the bottom right, settings. Now there are several settings that we have to go through, so I hope you're ready. Now starting off with the gameplay settings at the top. Now you can either change it to metric or imperial, depending on if you're American or not. I mean, let's be real. That's the only reason why you would change it to imperial, but I actually enjoy it being on metric, so I keep it on there. As far as the show vault and show cover indicators, I have those turned off because if not, you're going to see those indicators on everything you run past, and it's really redundant. I mean, you know that if you need to get into cover, you can run into cover and it'll be fine. You don't need a button on your screen to show you, hey, get into cover here. I mean, come on. It's just run and gun tactics or even just cover based tactics. You don't need to see that indicator every single time you get close to anything. I mean, it just kind of messes with the immersion, in my opinion. So I have both of these turned off. As far as the on call status, I have this on none unless I am doing the shepherding event. So if you're doing the shepherding event and you want your shepherd ranks and what have you, put the on call status from none to all, and then you'll see them pop up on your screen whenever someone is calling for backup, and then you can help them out and get your shepherding rank. But for right now, I'm not going for the shepherding rank at all, so I have it on none. That way it doesn't keep, bombarding me with invites from people calling for backup. Auto HUD, auto hide your HUD. I have this on because whenever we're doing stuff, it goes away and it's really not that bad. Again, it's all about the immersion and, playing the game and enjoying, the actual gameplay. So I do have this on auto hide just so that when I'm not, needing it or I'm doing something within the game, it goes away and it doesn't really mess with me. Hints, I have the hints turned off, but if you are new and returning, you could have the hints turned on if you want. I just have them turned off just because I've been playing this one for quite some time. Next up, we have show damage numbers, show radar. Yes, have these on. These are vital, details that you need. not only to see where you're at, where the enemy's at, but also to see, are you lacking in your damage? Are the enemies taking the right amount of damage? Is your build set up the right way? What have you? And showing the damage numbers really does help. Show connectivity. Yeah, this one's kind of up to you. It really doesn't matter. I mean, if you're lagging or if you're messing, with your internet, or you're having some sort of loading issues, what have you, have this on. That way you can just quickly reference it and see if, things are messed up. I mean, let me see right here. Here's your network settings right here. And you can see that I'm having a 0% packet loss and everything seems to be okay. It's all right. Going back to the settings, we are still under gameplay. Next up, we have show player level. I have this on because sometimes when I call for backup or I'm matchmaking for certain missions, what have you, sometimes some very low levels fall through the cracks. And then next thing you know, you're doing like a legendary DUA with like, a level 32 or some crap. So just it helps you be a little mindful. I have this on, that way we can see people's ranks, not only in PvP, PvE, but it does help, I don't know, just overall SA, situational awareness. As far as the menu glitch and menu strobe, I do like those effects whenever, stuff is happening that will mess with your menu, whether it be hunters, whether it be, doing something in game while, you're in your menu. It does give a cool little effects. Going to the auto group refill, I do have this on because if you are matchmaking and someone drops out or someone lags out or what have you, it automatically matchmakes for another teammate. And say you're, engaging whatever mission, whatever enemy, and a player drops out. It can go ahead and get you a new player within seconds while you're still, in the battle. And then that way you don't have to stop what you're doing to matchmake. It'll just do it for you. And this only happens when you're actually matchmaking. So it's not going to automatically fill your group just for, standing there at the base. It only really works whenever you're actually actively matchmaking a mission or stronghold. Next up, we have a whole bunch of yes. So show skills from your teammates, show the numerical cooldown, and taking damage while in photo mode will get you out of photo mode. All three of these are very helpful. Show skills on your group frame. What this can help you do is say you're doing a raid or say you're doing a stronghold or a legendary, what have you, and you're talking to your teammates and you're like, all right, man, can everyone put on a jammer pulse? And then, Bob's over there with a freaking defender drone and a hive. And you're like, hey, Bob, you put on the jammer pulse? And he's like, yeah, I put on the jammer pulse. And then he's still sitting there with a defender drone and a hive. You can be like, yo, bro, I see you have a defender drone and a hive. And then he's like, oh, yeah, my bad. my bad. And then he changes it. Well, this helps you see that. That way you're not just taking his word for it and you're not inspecting his character to see. You can just see it on your HUD. The numerical cooldowns do help. You will just see your box and it fill the box with your cooldown if not. So having the actual number, hey, you're going to have your skill back in 3, 2, 1, boom. I mean, that really does help you out as a player because then you can rely on that and you know exactly when you're able to pop your skills. So that is very helpful. The taking damage while in photo mode, obviously have this on unless you just really don't care and you're just really trying to take that photo. But for the most part, this doesn't really ever bother me unless we're trying to do those photos for like global event challenges or something. The GPS line, I know a lot of people like this one and a lot of people have it enabled. But like I have shown numerous times when going to Cassie Mendoza, sometimes on the map, the GPS line will be broken, especially if you need to go underground or something. It is known to bug out and get messed up. So I go ahead and just have it turned off. And then what I do is I just highlight the location that I'm going to go to, and it still shows me on my HUD where I'm going. It just doesn't have the big GPS, line on my screen showing me. Enable signature weapon swap effect. I mean, this one, it's really just up to you. Whenever you swap to your signature weapon, it might make that like gold effect, you know, and then make that noise whenever you're swapping to it. I mean, it's all right. It doesn't really bother me too much, but I went ahead and kept it on. Now, this one is very important. The additional field of vision and additional field of vision while aiming. I have these fully maxed out. What this does is it helps you with your camera angles. It helps you seeing around corners. It helps you seeing while you're aiming. It helps you just overall. This is very helpful, not only in PvE, but especially PvP. You want this maxed out all the way. Now, what I did personally is I went into, you know, like 5 or 10 increments. So I would start at like 5 for both of them, then move it up to like 10 or 15, then move it up to like 20, and then finally 25. It might give you a headache if you go from 0 to 25 on these settings. I'm just going ahead and warning you right now. It might give you a headache because it will mess with your eyes a little bit with the depth perception. Now, moving it up in increments will help, but still, get it up to that 25 and you'll be good to go. I have the motion sickness mode turned off. I don't want anything getting blurry or anything changing whenever I'm playing the game. I don't want any sort of distractions like that whenever we're, you know, trying to get immersed in the game. And then finally, your HUD tutorials. I have this turned off because these can automatically pop up on your screen, and it is actually pretty deadly because say you're engaging an enemy and then it wants to show you a freaking tutorial, it will get you killed. It's kind of messed up, but it also is there to help out the new and returning players, so I understand why they have the tutorials pop up like that. But I will warn you that these tutorial pop-ups will happen whenever, and it could mess you up, so I have it turned off. And that, my dear agents, is the gameplay settings. Going down to the UI settings, now this is one where I'm getting a lot of questions, and this is how are you making your map so big, your XP bar so small, and everything else is in different locations. It's because of the custom HUD option. So you can see right here, I have the XP bar, and I can make it super big, or I can make it super small. Now, I am not worried about my XP. I mean, you can see I'm into the 13,000s, and we're already maxed out for the season. So I keep it small because I'm really not worried about my XP at all. I keep my map relatively big. Hey, oh, that's what she said. I keep my map relatively big because I want to know whenever, like, for example, the loot goblin, right? If you're spawning in and you're trying to get the loot goblin, your map will flicker. It will do this effect, like I already talked about in the settings. And then when it does that effect, you know that you spawned the loot goblin. Or say you're in a mission and it will show you exactly where the next spawn is located. I have my map a little bit bigger. That way I can see that indicator a little bit sooner. I mean, that's just personal preference. Let's be real. But that's why I do it. And right underneath the custom UI, I do have classic button colors. I don't need anything special. But the next big one is this one right here, the scrolling combat text. Now, this is the one that moves your damage numbers. So let me show you exactly what I mean by this. This is probably one of the most frequently asked questions on the channel is how do you get your damage numbers to look like that? My damage numbers don't look like that. How do you do it? So let me show you really quick. It's just the combat text, and you have it on scrolling. So for example, let me just put it on the normal setting. UI. So normally you would see the random sphere, I'm pretty sure. And what this one does is it keeps the damage numbers on the target. That way when you're shooting the target, you can see exactly where the damage numbers are, and it's on the target. So you can see it just shows the damage numbers actually on the target, but it's hard to see. you know, based off of your location, I mean, you can see this enemy way back in the back. It's really hard to see those damage numbers, right? Super hard. But if you change that setting to floating, they will all appear in the same spot on your screen. So even if I'm shooting way over here, you can see now it's so much easier to see the damage numbers, right? And that's because of the scrolling combat text. That way you just see all the numbers right there next to you. It's a lot easier to read, and it doesn't like mess up the visuals of your enemy. Because say you're shooting your enemy a lot, like here, let me show you. It could block your screen to where you can't really see a lot of things with your enemy. I'll show you. So just doing invulnerable, let's put that setting back on. So normally this is what it would look like. All the numbers are all jumbled up. You can't even really see them. You're like, what number is that? And you can see like all the numbers are crazy looking, right? But if I were to put that back on the scrolling text, right, or the floating text, there you go, they all appear to the side. So it doesn't matter how many bullets I shoot into them, you can see it's just sitting there on the side. And then we can look at all the numbers together. And that is how we do that setting. Pretty cool, right? Moving down, we have the raid speedrun UI. I only have this turned on when I do the raids because for some reason this thing is connected to Countdown. And if you have this on and you play Countdown, it might show you some weird numbers. Following the raid speedrun, we have the active talents above Crosshair. I have that on, and I have the loot beam on as well, just in case you get that exotic or something. You can see that from, you know, across the room. It's pretty cool. Going down to audio settings. So for audio settings, I actually just turned the music way down. Not only for content purposes, I don't want to, you know, hit any copyright issues or anything like that, but I'm actually not really into it too much. I mean, the music is really good for like Brooklyn and Countdown, things like that. I mean, yeah, it does have some cool music involved, but overall, I mean, it's just not my cup of tea. For the other settings, I actually kept them all the same. Going down to the controls. All right, so here's the controls. Parkour mode during gameplay. I actually have this turned off. I have parkour mode turned off completely. I have my sensitivity all the way up, and I highly recommend you do the same. Now, this does look different for PC players, and this does look different for mouse and keyboard players. But for, you know, controller players or, you know, people on console, you want your sensitivity and your aim up. This is the turning, right? This is like, say you're running past an enemy, they just ran past you, and you want to turn around and shoot them. Well, depending on your sensitivity, that will dictate how fast you turn around. I mean, it could be you're turning like a freaking sloth, or you could be like freaking Sonic the Hedgehog and just whip, whip, and that's it. And this is where a lot of people in my comments will say, hey, man, I was playing you in Conflict, and man, you totally turned on me over there. And it's because of my sensitivity. I'm running around with my freaking head cut off with some crazy high sensitivity. So I'm able to turn my camera really, 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 really fast. And that's part of it, is these settings. So your settings do play a big part in your gameplay, and they will help you out more than you think. Now, the scoped in sensitivity, I did not really mess with. This is for like your snipers or like using like a scoped in mechanic, and I'm not big with that. I don't need a sniper or a rifle to turn like really super fast. When I'm sniping, I want to try to pay more attention and take my time with the sniping, because I'm not really that into it in this game. So whenever I do have a scoped in weapon, I try to keep that at like the same sensitivity and not mess myself up. Going down to the controller vibration. have this turned off. Turn that off. That will distract you. That will mess with you. You don't need the vibration turned on. Not, not only that, but it will kill your batteries if you don't have like a plug-in controller, and there's really no need for it. It's just going to mess you up. So having the controller vibration turned off will really help you actually pay more attention and get more immersed in the game, and not thinking, oh, my controller's going to vibrate every time I shoot my weapon or some crap. Going down to the dead zones, this is kind of like a test to see if your controller is broken or not. And that's by having your dead zones at 0. What do I mean by that? Well, we all know that over the years and years of gaming or what have you with your favorite controller, you might get what is called a stick drift. Now let's see if I can like mimic a stick drift. So if you're just sitting here and you put your controller down and your controller starts to do this, that's because you're getting stick drift to the left, okay? If you put your controller down and your character starts to do this, it's because you have stick drift on the left controller, stick, and it's pulling you down. Same if you have it like slowly turning this way, or say your character is like slowly moving like in one direction or another. This is all stick drift. This means your controller is, essentially broken. Now to fix that, what you would do is you would go down to your controls, go down to your dead zone, and you would increase the dead zone one at a time until your controller stopped doing that. Because you don't want your controller to move without you actually doing the moving for it, right? Because that could get you in a messed up situation. That could turn your controller in the wrong direction. That could just mess you up, right? Big disadvantage. So what I highly recommend is either have a new controller and put all these at 0, or just test out your controller and just put it at the bare minimum you can without, getting any sort of stick drift. Because if your controller is like randomly like moving in a certain spot that it shouldn't be, you need to fix that. That way you fix your gameplay. All of these is to help increase your gameplay and your experience of the game. Next up, the toggle to sprint. I do have this on. I don't want to just push up on my analog stick and just have my guy sprint. So I actually toggle it on and off whenever I do want them to run. And I have the enable auto run turned off. I don't want that either. Movement can exit cover. I do have this one just in case you're getting shot in the back. You can easily move out of cover instead of like trying to hit other buttons or trying to combat roll out of the way. You can easily just push yourself off of cover and avoid getting shot in the back. Let's see, anything else? I do have the auto aim on, the auto grenade on. I do have the hold to aim on. All of these cancel skills while aiming, and enter cover on long press is turned off. Going to the graphics, what's funny is I still have a lot of people that say, hey man, your videos are really dark. Hey man, why is it so dark? And that's just because of where I am on the map and the lighting for the game. Because sometimes when it's dark out, it's really freaking dark out in this game. So what I do is I have my brightness almost maxed out. I mean, this is 18 out of 20. That's pretty damn high. And same with the sharpness. I want it, pretty high as well. So I have it 9 out of 10. And the contrast I have pretty high. I even have the natural lighting turned off. And it does help in certain situations. Now, as far as the VoIP, this is for talking to other people. And these are some very important settings as well. So let me explain, because sometimes, man, whenever I join random players, sometimes it sounds like they're talking through a megaphone. Sometimes it sounds like they're like screaming at you. And other times it sounds like they're whispering. So let me go ahead and show you these settings. So first up, you want the VoIP not disabled, because if this is disabled, you will not be able to talk to other people. So have this on no. Have your mic enabled? Yes. That way you can talk to people. You want to be able to hear them, so you have it at 100. And the prox volume, I have it at 80, just in case. I mean, sometimes you'll run into some random people in the dark zone, what have you, and they'll be screaming. So I have that down a little bit. Now, the next few settings are very important. So this one has to deal with your microphone. So that whole megaphone or whispering thing that I was talking about, that's this right here. So the microphone boost, that's the part that makes you sound like a crazy person. A lot of people have this crap turned up to 100, and that's a volume boost of your voice. So you might be talking normal, but it's going to make you sound like you are screaming through a freaking PA system. So what I do is I have this down way low, dude. I don't even mess with this. Maybe 20, 25, something like that, because you really don't need to boost your volume even more. Now, the next one is the threshold. So the threshold I have pretty high up at 30%, because I don't want, like, say a door to open, or like say I'm drinking a drink, or I bump into the table or something like that. I don't want you to be able to hear every single thing I'm doing. So what I do is I have this volume input threshold at 30. That way it doesn't pick up my microphone unless I'm actually talking through the microphone, because it will pick up your voice. But if you have this sucker on like 0, that means you even breathing, they're going to be like, yo, bro, you're Darth Vadering your mic. Yo, bro, who's breathing through their mouth? Yo, shut up, mouth breather. You know, stuff like that. So what I do is I have this on 30. That way they don't hear me talking or something unless I'm actually talking to them. And then I have the boost down low. That way I'm not blowing out their eardrums. You see what I mean? Pretty easy. Next up is the accessibility. Now, this is just because I'm getting older. All right. My eyes are not getting any better. So I do have this on large. Okay. I know a lot of people have it on small. I have the sucker on large. And I have it on high contrast because it's easier to read. The onboard screen, I use this a lot. I use this when I say GGs to people, whenever I join certain groups. I'll use it to tell them what I'm using, things like that. This is a very good setting to help talk to other people without using your mics. Because remember, a lot of people are playing this game and they might be watching a podcast, watching a TV show, what the hell ever. They might be cooking or have kids or whatever it is. So they might not have their microphone or headset even plugged in. So using something like the on-screen keyboard will really help out, not only communicate, but it will help, the overall teamwork. Text to speak, I'm not using that. I know a lot of people that do, and it is funny at times, but I don't use that. The menu narration, I have this on off as well. I do not have any colorblind settings, but I will admit that a lot of people do use these settings because of their skills. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you what I mean here. Let's do, I guess it wouldn't matter. So if I were to throw out my seeker, right, you can see it doesn't show anything other than, where exactly my seeker is going to drop. Now, if I were to put on the good old colorblind settings. Oh, hold on. Now, you see the circle right there? That is because of the colorblind setting. That's the radius of the seeker mind. You will not see that unless you have a colorblind setting on your character. So it's kind of like a cheat code, because in PvP and things like that, you can see where people's skills are, the radius, and exactly where you would get hit. Where for normal people that don't have the colorblind setting on, they're not going to be able to see the radius or anything like that. All right. So that's a cool little, a little setting there. I don't typically have that on. I have it turned off. And then you can see it doesn't show all those little radius lines. It just shows the one red. All right. Now back to the accessibility. That's pretty much it. The message alerts I have turned off. I have my subtitles on medium because I'm getting older and I should probably put them on large. Just saying, just saying. And then I do have the contrast up high as well, just so that I can read them and, you know, move on with my bad self. But that's really it. Under the language, I have everything on normal just because English speaking, and yeah, good to go there. And that, my dear agents, is the entirety of your settings. Now, this is just for console, right? So I have to now jump over to PC and show you what my settings look like on PC. A majority of them are the same, but there are a few that are different on PC. So let's jump over there. And here we are on PC. So again, it's going to be relatively the same settings, but let me just show you what they look like on PC. So again, for the audio, I have the music down low, everything else turned up. I have the VoIP enabled. I have boop-a-doop-a-doop, low threshold, low volume boost. Going to the controls, you have the sensitivity for the mouse all the way up. I have the mouse smoothing all the way up and the mouse acceleration all the way up. For the gamepad aiming all the way up. For gamepad vibration, I have turned off. I have the dead zones again turned off. No parkour mode. And all of these look to be the same. Going to the graphics, I mean, this is all due to your PC or laptop or whatever. I have everything on high. I'm not finding any issues or anything like that. But I will say, if you are finding some sort of lag or some sort of issues like that, you could turn down the settings of things that don't really matter, like your shadow, like your, you know, the particle quality, the reflection quality. You could lower all these, vegetation quality, subsurface quality. You could put all of those down to low, and you would still be able to, you know, have everything else on a high setting. That way you can still enjoy the game. I still have the neutral lighting on off, and everything else is pretty much on high just because of my laptop settings. As far as the UI, I do not have the enlarged UI for PC. I still have the floating combat text on PC. The raid speedrun is still off, while everything else is on. Under the gameplay settings, I do not show the cover or vault. I do not have the on-call status unless I'm going for the shepherding ranks. You could mess with the reticle if you want. I'm not really messing with that. I do show the damage numbers and the radar and the connectivity and the player's level, all that. So all of this is still the same. Third party, I no idea. Not messing with any of that. Accessibility, yep. A large and high contrast, yep, and yep. As far as the the text to talk, you can do that on PC without enabling anything. It's already built in. And then finally, for the language, everything is the same. But I think the biggest ones for controller, just make sure your mouse sensitivity and all that is up, and you should be good for your controller, because it seems those are the only settings that really mess with it. But it's really not that bad. I mean, the controller feels even better on PC than it does on console, but that's just my own personal preference. But all right, that is it. That is all of the settings I showed you on console, and then I just showed you on PC. But that is everything you need to know to help, you know, increase your immersion into the game, increase your overall experience, and better your gameplay. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, but I am Kamikazevondoom. If you found this helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form, please hit the thumbs up, support the channel by subscribing, and remember, I do daily Division content, so you can ring that notification bell, and that way you don't miss a single Division upload. But again, I'm Kamikazevondoom. Take care of yourself, enjoy the rest of your day, and peace out.